Welcome to the video. My name is Kajira. I am the Silver Dragon Gamer. So today's entry that we're going to be working on is Link's Awakening. This game was initially released for the original Game Boy system and then later remastered for the Game Boy Color as Link's Awakening DX. While doing my research for this game and trying to find what I needed to do, I discovered that there really wasn't much of a difference between the two, so I decided instead of going with the original and having a boring black and white video, we're going to go with the DX version and show all of the footage for the run in the actual color so that it just looks better for you guys. I had been looking into the Switch version of this game, but as I was doing my research again, I found that it was a vastly different game. There is a lot more stuff that you can do at the very beginning, so I decided I may make a separate video just on the Switch version of Link's Awakening. So, without any further ado, let's jump into Link's Awakening DX. As with every Legend of Zelda game, we have to start off with a shield and sword. Now, for this one, we are getting the shield first, and we're going to get the shield from Terran here. He's going to tell us that our name is Link, and that he knows that because it's written on the back of his shield that he found. And now that we've got the shield, the game's going to give us a little tutorial explaining that we can use the shield to repel attacks, or we can use it to push enemies back. And this is going to be a very handy ability because there are going to be these spiny sea urchins that we have to move if we want to get access to our sword. Once we come down here, the owl will drop down, give us a little exposition explaining where we are, what we're doing here, and what we have to do before allowing us to pick up our sword and be able to continue onward to the various dungeons around the island so that we can eventually try to collect enough instruments and wake up the windfish, who is dreaming at the top of the island. Now here we've collected our sword, and we're ready to continue on our way to our next item, which is a heart piece. This heart piece is one of two that we're going to collect. Now, to get to it, we just simply have to go back to the beginning of Mabe Village after we finish climbing this cliff. And we jump into the well here, and there's our first heart piece. And we're on to the seashell. Now, the seashells are not necessarily a power-up, but when you get enough of them, and it is a pretty good quantity that you need, these seashells allow you to unlock items and things later in the game. This is the first one that we're going to get in this run-through. And now we need a bunch of money, so we're going to do a little bit of rupee farming. The initial amount of money that we need is really only 20, so we're going to start Link's lawn mowing service and clean out this section right here over and over and over until we hit those 20 rupees that we need. Once we get those, then we can move on to the claw machine. And the claw machine is located in the southeast corner of Mabe Village. What we're going to do here is use it as a rupee farm. It's much faster than trying to run Link's lawn mowing service. What we have to do is hit the B button to move the claw over to the right so that it stays right on that first conveyor, and then we're going to watch the rupee, and when the top pixel of it hits that breakpoint between the top and the right hand side conveyor, we're going to hit A, which will cause the claw to move minutely and will let us grab whatever's in that position, thus allowing us to farm the trendy game for as many rupees as we need. Each one of the rupees that we pick off of the conveyor belt is worth 30, so we can get a total of 60 rupees for a cost of 20. And now we're going to move on to the first item in our trade chain, the Yoshi doll. This is also in the claw game, so we just grab it right out of the middle, drop it, and it gives us a little exposition saying, hey look, Yoshi's here. He's popping up everywhere. Once we have the Yoshi doll, we're going to go back to farming rupees. This time we need about 250, so after a really quick jump cut, we get our last rupee to push us to the needed 250 rupees. Now at this point, I would really appreciate it if you could help out the channel a little bit. If you could just like, share, subscribe, and comment on the video, it would help a lot. Now, on to the shovel, bombs, and bow and arrow. These three items are why we needed so many rupees. So we're going to leave the claw game, go up here to the shop, and buy the shovel for 200. We're going to pay the guy, and then head out of the shop and go right back in, because that's going to reset his inventory. All it takes for the reset is just a screen transition out and back. And now he has the bow for 980 and the bombs for 10. Now you're probably wondering, how are we going to afford that 980 rupee bow when we only have 40? Well, quite simply, we're going to steal it from him. So what we do is we grab the bow, run around him, and straight outside. But if we ever go back, he will kill us, regardless of however many hearts we have. Now we're going to move on to the trade chain and turn in the Yoshi doll to get the bow. We want to give it to this lady here, who will then give us the bow as a thank you for giving her the Yoshi doll for her child. Now as soon as we get the bow, we're going to head out to the next part of the trade chain, the dog food. This is located by going into the little hut there. We're going to talk to this little miniature bow wow, otherwise known as a cow, I believe. It's going to be very happy to have the bow, and it's going to offer us dog food in trade. And once we get the dog food, we're going to move on and acquire our second secret seashell. So to get this item, we simply have to equip the shovel in place of the shield, and then go into the southeast corner of the room and dig, and that gives us our item. As soon as we have that, we can head out of the room and head north, where we're going to get our second heart piece from fishing. Now the fishing minigame in this is not very difficult. All we have to do is come up to this guy here, pay him 10 rupees, he'll go through a little exposition on explaining how to cast and how to reel in, and then we go into the actual minigame itself. Now the fish that we actually want is the one that's directly underneath Link, but it's going to take us at least 2 casts to get him. We want to catch this top fish to get it out of the way, so that when we throw our lure out the second time, it's much easier to get to our lunker fish, as they're known. And once we've reeled in the runt, and he pays us our 5 rupees, he'll ask us if we want to fish again, which we'll say yes, and then he'll go through the explanation again of how to fish. So what you do is you throw the lure out, keep it on top of the water, bring it in as close to Link as you can, and then just let it slowly drop, occasionally bobbing it to get the fish's attention. Then once he bites on, you pound on that A button as hard and fast as you can to eventually get the lunker fish to jump out and into Link's waiting net. The fisherman will say, "Oh, that's a giant fish you have," and he'll offer us a piece of heart along with 20 rupees for reeling in such a big fish. After that, we're finished fishing and we can move on to the next item in the trade chain, the bananas. Now I will avoid the obvious Gwen Stefani joke here and continue on with this, but to get the bananas we have to go back down to the beach and into this little hut here and talk to this crocodile who's a huge fan of canned food, especially dog food. Once he gets his dog food from you, he's going to eat it real quick and then hand us a nice big bunch of bananas that we can continue on in the trade chain if we were continuing the game. Next up on our item list, we have the toadstool. This is a very important item. We cannot progress the game without it. So we're going to leave the crocodile's hut and we're going to head back up north through Mabe Village, but this time we're going to go up into the mysterious woods. We're going to be greeted by the owl. He's going to give us some story exposition, and then we're going to go straight into the woods. We're going to go to the right as far as we can into this little cave, get us some free rupees right here, all the while killing off the geese and avoiding the breaking floors. Then we're going to continue on through the cave. Once we come out the other side, there's the toadstool that we want behind those bushes. We're simply going to pick up the toadstool, put it into our inventory, and then we have to head back into the cave because there's a witch far to the east who wants this toadstool for some magic powder. This magic powder is very useful because it helps us progress the plot, of course. Once we head out of the cave, we go all the way to the north and then around to the east, and then head back around to the south where we're going to find the witch's hut. We're going to go inside, we're going to hand her the toadstool, she's going to get all excited, "Hey, you found the toadstool I've been looking for." She's going to do a quick mix and turn it into a powder that we're going to use to not only cure Terran, but also you can use it on enemies to change them. If you use it on moblins, it sets them on fire. If you use it on the little cucumbers, it'll turn them into little goofy faces. But we're off now to go rescue Terran as we head back into the mysterious woods. And we're going to go to about the middle of the woods here, and then go north until we come across this raccoon. We're going to run up, throw the powder on him, he's going to bounce around the screen all over the place, going a little bit ballistic, and suddenly, poof, he's back to Terran. Once we do that, and he's back to normal, he's going to let us go on north, where we're going to pick up our final item for the game, the tail key, which would give us access to the tail dungeon. Now to get this key, we simply go one screen north, cut down the bush, and open the chest. Once we get the key out of the chest, the owl is going to fly in, give us a little bit of exposition about where we need to go and what we need to do. As soon as he flies off, that's all there is. Link's Awakening and Link's Awakening DX really didn't have much in the way of power-ups for Link, so unfortunately, Link's not very strong at this point in the game. Now, the remaster for the Switch, that's a whole different story. Link's much stronger in that one, but we'll cover that in another video. So, I'd like to thank you for watching my video. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Until the next time.